Hello and welcome to the Calmcast, a time to feel calm and think clearly. I'm Claire Downham, the Queen of Calm, a transformational life coach. I was a burnt out head teacher who finally made the journey to calm after years of trying, and I want to prevent you from having to do the same. The Calmcast is a series of short explorations, gently guiding you back to your natural state, which is calm and clarity. Just listen like you would listen to music, with an open mind and curiosity. There's nothing else to do. Now let's relax into today's episode. So today I am going to talk about awareness. It's Mental Health Awareness Week where I am in the world. So it seemed like I wanted to focus on the word awareness because, well, I think a few things are going to happen this week. First of all, there's going to be this focus on mental health, but not on mental health at all. So there's going to be a lot of posts about what's wrong with people and what illnesses there are around mental illness, not mental health. And I'm going to speak about this a little bit more this week. There's going to be a lot of pointing people to what's wrong with them rather than pointing them to mental health. And I've seen this so differently in the last few years that we have something innate to us. We have innate mental health. We have all the resources that we need inside of us. But the problem at the moment seems to me to be that we're inviting people to look in the wrong direction. But today I wanted to focus on the third word in mental health awareness, and that is awareness. And I do not mean talking about mental illness endlessly and making sure everybody knows about mental illness and what's it all about, and making sure employers are doing something about it and talking about it. But talking about what's wrong with people. I mean awareness. Your awareness. Because it seems to me that there are a myriad of ways to feel better, to think better thoughts, to behave in a different way that we are being pointed towards pretty much endlessly. There are lots of tools and techniques to improve the way you feel. And there are lots of tools and techniques to have better thinking. And there are a ridiculous number of things you can apparently do in order to behave better, from steely determination to goodness knows all sorts of things. Habit formation, that's another one, isn't it? But what about what is available in awareness is probably an awful lot more than you might think. And I mean, one example that comes to mind for me where I brought some awareness to something that I wanted to consider in a different way and maybe have some different behavior around was money. And recently, well, it's probably last year actually, we were travelling in our motorhome and we ended up at a service station in the UK where there was a lovely Marks and Spencer's food department. And I do like a bit of Marks and Spencer's food. Everybody does, I think, don't they? We get in there, we end up buying an awful lot more than we actually need. And I was waiting outside the toilet at the service station for my fiancé to come out. And we'd just been talking in the motorhome. We had just been talking about money. We'd just been talking about how could we spend a little less so we can spend more time in the motorhome and have more money for fuel and to go on trips away and things. And so because we'd just been having that conversation, I noticed, I was aware of a little bit of thinking that went on. And that was while I was waiting outside the toilet for him to come out of the toilet, I became aware of the thought that it would be really great to go get some food from Marks and Spencer's. But I think because I just had a conversation with Bruce about not spending loads of money on things we don't really need, I would just then became aware. I just became aware of the thought, and because I had reached the point, and this is pivotal when we're thinking about awareness. I'd reached the point where I already knew or had an awareness of that I am not my thinking. Like that my thinking is invariably not true. That the other thing to know about is it's not an instruction, it's a construction. It's being brought through us. It isn't a directive from God, as, as Michael Neal often says. The voice in your head is not the voice of God. It's not even your voice. It's not it's not the rules. It's not the truth. And so, because of having that level of awareness about the nature of thought and no longer having such a tight attachment to my thinking, because I don't really see it as mine as much anymore, I was able to just let that thought pass, the thought of getting food from Marks and Spencer's, and move on with my day and eat the food that was in the van. Because that's the thing is, it's not like we were going to starve if we didn't go to Marks and Spencer's. We're traveling in a motorhome, so there's more food than than we knew what to do with in a vehicle that has a kitchen in it on the car park. And that's where awareness begins to be powerful, is when you start to realize that you're not your thinking. You are not that which passes through your head. And we can even bring this awareness to our feelings. Your feelings are not you. If you have an anxious feeling, that is not telling you that you are anxious. That is telling you that you have anxious thinking. And as I've just mentioned, you're not your thinking either. So something amazing happens as we start to become aware of that which is passing through us and begin to, we start to detach from that being us. There's a real difference there. You're the awareness. All the other stuff, the thoughts, the feelings, the behavior, are not you. They're what's passing through you. Because, your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are rooted in conditioned things that you learn as you were going through life. Like the things that people said to you, the things that when people got upset with you and shouted at you and called you goodness knows what, the things that you picked up from the misunderstandings that of things that were happening around you when you were a child. That's all your thinking is, and your thinking generates your feelings, and the combination of your thinking and your feeling generates your behavior. So none of that is you. And sometimes it feels to me like a microscopic step backwards. Excuse me, a microscopic step backwards where we start to be the observer of that which passes through us, and actually where we think that we have to forcibly change our feelings, change our thoughts, change our behaviors. What is actually super powerful is to just become more aware of them, to realize that you're not them, to create a kind of space, almost a detachment from them. And that gets easier when you really understand what they are. This is the problem, really. It's that we think thoughts and feelings are something that they're not. There's almost like a a sense that there's a solidity to them. That's not probably a word, but it is now. That they're who we are. But you're not thoughts and feelings or behaviour. You're something much more difficult to grasp than that. I think that's partly why we get so attached to our thoughts and feelings and behaviours, is because we can experience them, can't we? Whereas what I'm pointing to, this awareness, is it feels maybe a little bit more difficult to experience, but it's always there. It's always available to you. And it's the space where the most amazing things can happen. That really the most amazing things can happen just by bringing some awareness to things. So yeah, you are the awareness of all that stuff going on. And really, all my invitation is to change your relationship with your thoughts, feelings, and behavior, not to forcibly change them. Because I found actually that's really hard and it doesn't really work. So just take that little step backwards and notice what's going on inside you.
Thank you so much for listening. There's nothing to do now but bring some awareness to how this is working out in your life. Listen regularly to experience longer and longer periods of calm. This has been the Calmcast with Claire Downham, Queen of Calm. Take care and keep listening.